meeting is being recorded.
Oh, Michael. I hope more people will join in a couple of minutes. Hi, Manu.
Hey Mark, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. Yourself?
I am good. Um, remember all the discussions we've had with people who point to verbiage and like eats another draft that basically says, but we're accounting for the fact that the relying party can be simple. And I felt like I was not prepared to, like the intuition was the wrong, that I was not prepared to speak to it at any, uh, like with any formalism. So I basically went and proved it. So I wrote this document. I just sent it to both TWI and Attestation SIGs.
Yeah, I just saw the email. I didn't open the doc.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
That's
it's
what it
just
is. Yeah.
it's 2.5 pages, but it basically uh, you know puts the nail in the coffin of that idea.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
it's not something I would put in the ITF draft, but this is kind of a supporting document that now if people question the rationale, they can argue with this document and not rehash the same arguments every single time.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, really, the document could be as short as the relying party, the attestation results are signed by the verifier. And the relying party that's never heard of a verifier all of a sudden needs to add that to its root of trust.
That's exactly
That's a
right.
change. That's in itself a change.
It's
Uh,
it really is that fundamental is that the verifier did not exist before. And so
right.
by definition, the relying party needs to
Yeah, but
be
like then
able
people
to
could say,
communicate with
well,
it.
you can reconfigure who you trust, and that's like that change is acceptable. But this is where it needed a strong argument
Hmm.
that basically said, actually, no, unless you're willing to rechristen verifier as a effectively an IDP.
Which is exactly the conclusion we reached. Yeah.
Yeah, but except that like the results that RAT specifies for the formats the RAT specifies for attestation results are things like trustworthiness vectors,
Yes.
and they are they're not what relying parties can process.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
anyway, so that was I just felt I needed like took me a
You
day,
need
but
to
I
get it
felt
out of your system. Yeah. Put it on paper.
well
Yeah.
because like the thing is again I do not like having arguments where I do not have concrete proof because the vibes are a bad engineering practice.
Yeah. And I mean,
Um,
especially in this field that is so new and so contrarian, where you start from a position of optimal trust or optimal verifiability, lack of
yeah,
trust or absence of elimination of trust. This all the intuitions that we had before, I think, are just
yeah, and I think for
not
people who are
helpful.
not steeped in it, it's even harder.
Exactly.
Like if you're in it, like it's almost intuitive at this point.
Yeah, I had this mental model that when you build a bridge, you might want to start at both sides. So you start with the legacy, but you start building from the other end, the future, and you connect in the middle, or a
Yeah,
tunnel. But in this case, it really is the case that you have to start from you need the end result is so foundationally different from the
yeah,
starting point that you must take into consideration the new capabilities, right, that exist. The concept of verifying something before it even runs, right, at the chip level is just something that did not exist before. And so it
right.
just transforms everything. Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so anyway, this document I do not think we'll be reviewing in this meeting, but I do encourage folks to look over it again. It's 2.5 pages long,
I will read it. Yeah. I have
including
it open.
everything. And if I got anything wrong, that can undermine the strength of the
The
arguments.
argument.
So I would much rather correct it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I've been wrong enough. Okay, so um, going back.
I'm gonna request edit
Oh yeah, please
permission
do.
or
Yeah, 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 yeah. Let me.
like commenting here.
It's well, I mean, you should have edit permissions to the entire uh,
For some
GCC
reason
Oh,
it's just
folder.
oh, can you
yeah, for
post the link,
some yeah,
Mark?
for some reason it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Hi, Hank. How are you? Yeah, I will let put everything in the
Hi
chat.
there, planning another trip. How are you?
Hey
We're
Hank.
doing great. So we were just discussing, Hank, that there was some confusion, including in discussions with you
Okay.
that can we really have upgrade an attester workload to run in a trust execution environment and not change its relying party at all? So there was some confusion about that. Like, what if verifier is your really IDP and right? So all of that. So I went ahead and if you are in the TWI SIG or in the attestation SIG,
Yeah, yeah.
you will see a document that I wrote. So the link to the document is actually in the meeting minutes. It's right here. So you
Okay, I
can,
will, I will look
yeah,
for the
let me,
minutes first because I think these are the easiest to find by my browser. Because try profile for replica. Try minutes. I found the minutes. Choop. Let's
yeah.
go from there.
Yeah, but
Verified
anyway,
suite.
so I wrote the document which I believe proves that no, you really do need ransomware relying parties. You need an extension to the RATS architecture to accommodate them. And to those people who think that they don't need them, I basically say, you just shrunk your target market by orders of magnitude, one or two. So uh, that's that's why I I deal with the boring legacy world. All right. So, and then the next thing I want to do, okay, what link do you guys need me to put in the chat? So meeting minutes, maybe.
I have
Let's see.
everything.
Okay.
Impossibility. Is that the link?
Yeah. So that's in the medium. I mean, that's letting.
Yeah, and I'm there.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
So
It only took me
again,
half a
if
minute.
if I got anything wrong, I would much rather get friendly fire than get shut down by someone
Okay.
else.
Yeah.
Okay. So finally, our Vienna IETF submission. By the way, at this point in time, Hank, the TWI IETF GitHub. Can you please do me a favor and tell me where to? I mean, I could just clone a repo that allows me to build the draft. Like I know you did a lot of work before, but it was on probably on the wrong content. So in TWIRAT. So this is where we're gonna put our so we don't have to create a new repository. Um,
I see what you did there. Okay.
yeah,
What?
that draft is expired, so I just put it into archive.
Yeah, and the existence of that folder will be a problem. So what I will
It
do
will.
is, yes, the CI is Martin Thompson. I don't know. The CI is deployment is very picky. If you don't have, you do have more than a README, and there's no README, so I have to add the README. And so that is, but we are in main. Okay, excellent. So I would do two things. I would make a clone, so clone the thing, remove the document temporarily, create a. Then we need a skeleton ID. To
Yes.
a unicorn ID. I don't know. We could use the old one and just go from there or scrape something, but that's all hand manual labor. So and I need to create an ID skeleton at one time and just clone. I,
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
do that. I don't know. And then when that exists, we can copy stuff in. And before we copy stuff in, we have to agree what to copy in. But I can build the pipeline out of a skeleton as long as that is consistent. So and then the pipeline builds and ta-da. But and then I will add the directory back because that will just mess with the pipeline installation.
Okay. You know best. I'm just asking you so because if I figure it out on my own, it's probably gonna take me several days. I'm very slow. So, and if you even if you can document your steps, like this is how you put a skeleton ID into a place. I would just save it somewhere so I don't have to ask you again.
Michael put something. So if you would have a clean folder with the README, Michael put in a link in the chat as MCR. I think he's here. I think I
Oh,
did not hallucinate him being here. No,
he
he's here.
was
Hi,
here.
Michael.
He's there. Hi, Michael.
And so that markdown file might have the link that you need to for all the steps because I am never cloning the template. I ran into a lot of so in the chat. Exactly. If you open that up and share with us real quick, then we can look at it if it's a right link. I assume it is. Uh, no. So go with the ID template. At the top, there's ID dash template as a link in blue. Exactly. And if you scroll down, because I don't do from template, that is was always see, and this is also broken. Main doesn't even compile on Martin's thing. If you go to the README
No,
download, download,
so
download.
the template does work pretty well, but fundamentally,
Yeah,
all you really need to do to
scroll
make
down,
any of it
please.
work is to drop the make file from the template in.
Scroll down, please.
Everything else gets is from there,
Okay, then
right?
don't scroll down. I don't care. I try to lead you. I can't screen share, unfortunately.
So what do you want me to do? Or do you want to
I
share
want
your
you to,
screen
yeah,
and show us?
scroll down. No, I cannot. Scroll down. Just to the README. Scroll down, scroll down. Be patient. Scroll down, more down, 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 down. And yes, there we are. So, and now there is manual setup. On the most right link in blue. The most on the right link.
Manual
There
setup?
is, yes. And if you click that link, then there's a quick setup list. If you scroll down, fast setup. Sorry, there's now it's at the very top. Wonderful, fast setup. No, there it is. Fast setup. It's a third link. And that is the link that always works and leaves and shields you from the changes of the template.
Okay.
So
Where it
this is
says
my
unicorn,
fast
where it
setup.
says unicorn protocol, that's your repo.
Yes, that
Right.
unicorn is exactly. That's you start with the standard MD. You can't even import anything. Imports in another file doesn't work. It just has to be one markdown the end, and then this fast setup is absolutely fail safe and shields you from the template changes that happen that break all the time. That's the CI.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're basically saying if I follow these steps, I should be able to create a, but I would also need to temporarily remove the
Yes,
archive folder.
yes, and you need a
Yeah, only the
markdown
key.
that is valid. Sorry.
The key one is the second last line. Make -f lib setup.mk. As long as you make with something that looks like that, you're pretty much anyway. So
Yeah, and this make will fail if there's anything else in there, even hidden files. The .git is ignored.
empty directory is good. Yes.
Yeah,
It will
exactly.
fix
It must be an empty directory with only the markdown file. If there's anything else, make will tell you. That is why you have to remove temporarily, even from the Git, this
Okay.
this. And typically, this installation survives for about 5 years without even updating lib. But
That's
when lib
nice.
is functional, you can update at your own will. You're not bound to the template updates.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so for the remainder of this meeting, we will assume that what I put into this document is correct sight unseen. I encourage you to read it. This is the impossibility proof for rats and aware relying parties. And we're going to focus on, and again, like if you have issues with this document, please review, please give comments, sooner better. I'm assuming it, I'm not saying I'm dictating it. But to make forward progress, we are writing a draft that says we need to extend the RATS architecture to accommodate these RATS unaware relying parties, basically completely intransigent relying parties. Assumption is that they use proof of possession, so they don't use bearer tokens, and that so they don't use API keys. They use WITs or XOR9 certificates, so no bearer tokens, and that they are unable to make even one line of change for for your workload, and your workload all of a sudden starts running inside a trust execution environment. So that's where the draft comes in. And what I need to, so there are some questions I have for this crowd today that I want to answer before I start authoring this into the actual content. So the first question is this. So this is kind of unfortunate how this picture is split across, but okay, but you know
A
what
few
Red's
new
architecture
lines.
looks like.
Yeah.
Well, it's their page break. It's whatever. I don't even know. Can I view it without page breaks? Maybe. There we go. Much better. No Brittle. All right. So this, right? So in the RATS architecture, the attester sends evidence to the verifier, and the attestation results, according to the picture, go directly to the relying party. We both know that is not. We all know this is not exactly true. Sometimes attestation results go to the attester, which pings them over to the relying party. That's all fine. So the RAS architecture effectively captures two different flows. Now here, once again, there are really two different flows. And my question to the group is, do we put two separate diagrams here, or do we just do one? The two possibilities are, the first possibility is that the RATS relying party drawn here is a key store, much like in our twi-profile document that we authored some time ago. And the attester presents attestation results to the key store, and then the key store responds with a private key that is wrapped for attester's consumption, right? So again, none of this is said explicitly in this picture, right? But ultimately what happens is the attester attests to a proof of possession of the public key, and that public key is and then, well, basically, sorry, it doesn't attest to the proof of possession, but it basically says, return your output encrypted to this asymmetric encryption key. And then the key store takes the secret that it has, right, that we used to call the credential signing key, the CSK, encrypts it with this wrapping key, and sends it back to the attester. So that's the first flow. The second flow is that this RATS relying party is actually a CA, right? And the attestation results are effectively a certificate signing request, CSR. And then the attester presents the attestation results to the CA or some sort of IDP, and it gets back both the key and the credential. Michael, you had your hand up.
I didn't want. I put my hand up and interrupt because I didn't want. I wanted to let you finish your.
No,
your
please.
story.
I just
Sorry.
finished.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just I had two clarifying questions, and part of it is because I'm on a rampage against the word key, because it's vague and confusing, and it's vague and anyway. Never mind that. But why? I'm not going to just in your two cases. I believe that the RATS relying party thing, because you're trying to rename it in some ways. Why is it creating a private key for the attester as opposed to just adding a new signature or a new certificate against the one that it maybe has already?
Okay, so that's a reasonable question. So there is a document that it would be really good if you reviewed. I'm going to put the link in here. And that's a document that this SIG has worked on for a long time.
Okay.
And,
okay. So it's
but
because
I know,
of
but
that.
I want to walk you through this because I think it will very much help you. So we developed a specification or a proposal that is not exactly what we're presenting to the IETF. So that's the background that I think would be helpful to understand. And it is a proposal that we hope would unlock the use of confidential computing in the vast majority of cloud scenarios. And what is true, I believe, or I guess we believe at this point, for cloud scenarios is there are lots and lots of workloads that are functionally indistinguishable from each other. So examples would be, I have containers. And I started, 10 containers horizontally scaled. They are ultimately all the same workload identity. There is no difference between them.
They are all processing my image, looking for my relatives, like Google Photos.
But they are functionally indistinguishable from each other, although they run maybe on different CPUs. But from the point of view of the relying party, they're functionally the same. So
because they all do the same work for the same
exactly the same, and they're running in the same location, and we apply the exact same attestation policy to them. Right. Another one would be serverless functions. Right. So serverless function starts up. It starts up somewhere. But ultimately, you trust it to be that piece of code and no other running on approved hardware in good configuration, all of that stuff. Confidential VMs, same thing, right? Anything that's horizontally scaling and where you don't, So it's in all of those cases, the assumption is that it is okay to create one credential, so one X509 certificate, one workload identity token in Whimsy parlance, that would all be structured around the same public key.
Okay, you convinced me. I don't need you to go any further, but yeah.
Okay.
Unless someone else says,
in here, yeah, but in here we basically we only have the key store variant. We do not have an IDP variant. But we basically say, so you asked why would a key store create a key? Well, the key store creates a key because that's one place where it is actually safe to create, a key that is more than ephemeral. And then this key gets shared with authorized workloads if they pass remote attestation. So again, please look over this document.
I see. I'm convinced. Easily. So, and I just wanted to maybe nail in the coffin here. And the reason why it's not a symmetric key is because that couldn't be shared with the other bottom actual RATS unaware relying party. So
Correct.
that wouldn't work. It has to be an identity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So again, if you want to rename the word key, like again, all of this is just a draft. It's entirely possible to change anything
I
about it.
wanted to I wanted to say that the reason is because people don't know whether it's a public
So
key,
should I say
private key, or
identity key?
credential. No. Actually, I'm relatively happy with you saying. Actually, I'd rather you just said key pair with credential. That's what I would write today. But I'm also would like to, if someone could find a friggin' word that wasn't the word key, then I would love
Okay,
it. Nobody
so
has.
in this draft, we use the term credential signing key, right? So if I have an X509 certificate, the certificate is signed by the issuer, so by CA, by some IDP. But in order to use the credential, you need this private key, and then we're making this signing key available to all authorized workloads. Right, so that will be the key. This key, the CSK, that is the key that is really assumed to be in here. That's the key that unlocks the use of an identity credential. Now, the two variants that are implied here, and this is where I want to structure it such that there is as little confusion as possible. The one variant is the attester gets its credential. So credential in this case means the public portion. Anyone can see the credential. It's public. There is nothing secret about it. Credential basically contains, as a subject name, the identity of the workload. And then the key is the private signing key without which you cannot use this credential. And the two variants are that in one variant, a tester already was provisioned with the credential, and now it needs to go through remote attestation to use the key. That's variant one. Maybe that should be made more like it's kind of stated in the sentence, but maybe it needs more verbose explanation. And the second idea is, or second variant of this flow is that a tester presents evidence to the verifier, and then this RATS relying party is really an identity provider. So it issues to the attester both the key and the credential needed, both of them.
And it's because it's a common a key across workloads. The private
Correct.
key is, right.
Correct.
So it's just saying, oh yeah, you've proven that you're reliable. Here's your magic token.
Yes.
Go plant them in the backyard.
But as usual with so the reason, so this is not the other proposal I showed you. This proposal is more like, okay, this is how we unlock the use of computing in public clouds. This is specifically targeted at IETF, the RATS working group, saying, look, guys, great job so far. Don't change a thing. Like, we're not here to upset your apple cart. However, because we now have this proof that we have these RATS unaware relying parties, how do we make them work in a way that is probably like the most generic?
So I just was going to say that your two scenarios, first of all, I don't think this is hostile or at all. You're just building on what's there. I don't think you're actually changing anything.
That's by design, yes.
Maybe you're feeling a little bit like not included, but I wouldn't say. So I would say that so in the one case, the relying party is an IDP. That was your second case that actually was issuing the credential that the unaware relying party was going to use.
Yes.
In another case, a different IDP has issued that credential using some other flow, right? Not important here. And this one is saying, oh, I'm letting you join the inner circle of having access to the key.
Correct. Yes, you got it.
But the IDP came from elsewhere. Like, I don't know, it could be even
it could be anything. It's whatever the RATS unaware relying party trusts. Yeah.
So let me just suggest that that's actually probably not two cases. It's just that one case is a degenerate case of them both being located in the same box. And that probably simplifies your conversation, right? So an IDP issued the key, period. The thingy in the rats relying party, or the rats aware credential party, or I don't know, we'll come up with a name for it, is the holder in both cases is the holder of a private key encrypted that it will share with other things on
That is correct.
But it
management.
is a co-located role. So the Reds relying party role is co-located with another role that is this key holder.
Yeah, and
Right?
I now feel we will have to, yes, we will have to invoke Ghostbusters. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Most of the plot of the Ghostbusters movies is one character running around asking if you are the key holder.
Oh,
it is not wrong.
Wow, that's way too geeky for me.
Yeah, but it's just like, yeah, I mean, if you got a chance to bring Sigourney Weaver into your protocol, I think you should. But anyway,
it is unfortunately true.
Maybe I should watch this movie this weekend. It's been a while.
It is an awesome movie. I also have a shirt. I can bring it to the next Vienna ITF. I will bring my Ghostbusters shirt. You will love it. There's also this diagram here is the refinement of a problem, and this is all steered by the initial phrasing of Mark that is called relying party empathy.
Yes,
and we are being empathetic now by acknowledging that a Reds relying party might be a little bit different than the old school never changing relying party, and we have to be empathetic with the lower one. But the first one needs a new role added to it. So it's an entity taking on the relying party role for Reds is taking on the key holder role, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think that's our. It took us some rounds to get there, to be honest.
Right. Now, so the question is for this group, the most important thing is I would like to start writing the actual draft as soon as possible, because now we have less than 2 months, and I need your opinion as IETF experts and graybeards, old hats, whatever. Please take a look. Maybe now just take 5 minutes, read over this very short text. It literally starts with the abstract and it ends here. And
I think it's great, and I understand your diagram very well now. Well, happy to help you, but if I can, and I don't know. I don't know. So you already have that attester to relying party protocol. That's TWI.
The attester to relying protocol. This is X509. This is MTLS. This is Whimsy Wits with proof of possession. It's any proof of possession authentication protocol. That's completely generic. But the idea is that the target audience is legacy relying parties that already do non-human identity with proof of possession by whatever mechanism exists, right? So the idea is if you have a credential, a WIT or X509 or anything in the future, but you need a key in order to use that credential, this is that. And I need to, so here's the thing. We just went through 20 minutes of just going over like what this means. I'm not going to have 20 minutes in IETF. No, I need this wording to be very, very precise to unlock the meaning for people who,
But I'm trying to ask a practical question here.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Upon successful publication of this document, is this a terminology of what's going on, or is this a description of, and the opposite side of it is, it's a description of the bits on the wire of how you get that key across the thing?
This is not the description of bits on the wire. This is basically saying, look, guys, you missed a market opportunity. Like that's the business side.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's like, let's just do it. Okay. I don't think you need a RFC to say you need permission to this, to connect an IDP to rats. I think you need, I'm unclear if you're to what level of specificity you're trying to what does the market need to unlock this thing? Because it's more than just some terminology in diagrams. It's somewhere it's a protocol.
So
right?
this is the justification I am using up until now. Tell me if it's not convincing enough. If this was so obvious, this would have existed already, but it doesn't. And because it doesn't, we are having a massive adoption blocker. Like a large organization such as the one that I'm working for.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you.
That
But
is what the draft is
what is
supposed to
it
do.
that needs to exist?
What needs to exist is there are no RATs relying parties today that act as the facility that is needed by these guys.
I'm
gonna
rephrase that slightly. I think there are no identity providers that interlock with a relying party to unlock the credential.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, and to me that doesn't sound like a RFC lack. That sounds like a product missing from market, and so that's why I'm wondering what you're trying to accomplish, because writing an RFC does not create products, right? Unfortunately,
but
well,
I don't know if it doesn't, but I actually believe that if we were to state this as plainly as this diagram does, and to people who will understand it, they can then go off and say, "Oh, we understand that further embellishing things like AR4SI or EAR or EAT is simply not going to give us the product fit."
If what you write is and I hate this word, but it's a profile, but maybe it's actually better a roadmap that says along each one of those arcs in this diagram, thou shalt use protocol, ideally one, but maybe two, to do this, and this is how they go together, and you will use this format of key and that kind of thing, such that it's sufficiently well specified that when two entities go, and because there's like 12 choices, right? So
yeah.
And it's not for lack, we don't have a standard for lack of any choices. We have a lack of a standard for too many choices. And so if you say, I want to do X, Y, Z, and Q, and this is how I'm going to do it, that is a fantastic document. And, you can put running code against it, right?
If you just allow me a second, I'll show you a presentation that I think is pertinent here. So this is the one I presented to. What would I say there? Let me just really show you at a glance what it is that I worry about. Is it even in here?
My love would love to see that image as a deadhead. She would love that.
Oh, that was because I did presentation on Bicycle Day, April 21st.
Oh. It looks to me, it looks like a deadhead thing, but anyway, all right.
Well, I don't know, it's whatever Gemini spat out when I gave the prompt.
Oh,
but no, let me show you, because there is something I'm after here. Oh, there we go. Maybe it's this one. Give it a second. Yeah, it's this picture. So I need you to basically internalize this, because people don't get that. So we have building blocks and data formats and RATs. So we're not changing that. And there is whimsy, or X509's credential usage. This is once you have a credential, that's we're really not changing that much. But it's the credential provisioning, right? So how do I get the credential to the workload? And how does the workload actually perform remote attestation to make use of that credential? This is the no man's land today. Okay, so I just wanted to shine a light at the fact that we have two IETF working groups, one on the bottom, one on the top, and they are not connecting. So then go back to our discussion here. What do I put into this IETF draft? Because on one hand, I don't want to over specify things, and on the other hand, your point is correct in that at some level, this is not a new format specification. So like, why do you bother? And yet I need to put this in front of people to unlock the commercial application of the technology. Hank, you also had your hand up for a while.
I forgot why.
Okay.
This is too long ago. Yeah. I remember. When you were talking, I realized that I lost the context of what would be from a business model perspective. I want to say the bankster be the duties of the boxes here. So one of them is the payroll application. I assume that's the Reds unaware relying party or it's the tester. I actually don't know, and now need I want to say bank specific aliases for the four
Yeah.
bottom boxes.
So let me
Because I
give you an
can't
example.
place them all anymore correctly.
Yeah, let me give you an example. So
Yeah.
at the bank, we have these things called high-risk locations. And the high-risk locations, even the regulator may be hostile. Like it's really, really dangerous place to operate. We're a multinational bank. So we're under two constraints. We cannot simply say we're giving up on a location. Like we still do banking in China and even Russia under sanctions. Like we do business in sanctions jurisdictions because the banking is a universal like infrastructure service. On the other hand, the high-risk locations are highly segmented for many different reasons. So now imagine that I have a very intransigent, and this is the example I always use, payroll database or some human resources database, and it services everything from all over the world. And it has two clients. It has one client running in, or maybe even three. It has one client running in, I do not know, Canada with maybe few regulations. It's one client running in Germany where you have a requirement saying, well, if you're going to access data on German customers, then it has to be located physically in Germany. And then we have one in China or another high-risk location where we simply must run something in the trusted execution environment. And at the same time, this payroll database doesn't change because it's a different organization, different line of business. Maybe it's a different like vendor, like a SaaS provider. So, getting them to change is organizationally very, very difficult, creates a giant amount of friction. So now I went and upgraded my payroll application, so the attester, to run in the trusted execution environment in China. And the only thing I want to know is before this attester basically ran because I just provided it with credentials. But now I'm saying, well, I'm going to change its code such that it actually is going to go do remote attestation so that I absolutely know that it runs, with debugging off on approved hardware in that location. I need to be able to do that and not change a line of code or any config on this intransigent payroll database or human resources database.
Yeah,
That's a scenario.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood.
Yeah.
So you don't
I
get
think it's very
if you don't get if you can't prove sorry, if your proof is no good, then you don't get in, and that's the evidence that you've been
Correct.
verified.
Yeah, the very fact that you can do proof
that
of
you have
possession over this channel tells me that whatever you did satisfies our organization's requirements for you having that credential.
Yeah. This is a little bit like the DICE concept. If I have the certificate, everything else turned out well. And we don't even have to know.
Exactly.
So yeah, I understand this layering, and it's a great next layer. And it's I think it's a catchy now with the story and the diagram. It's a catchy story. Yeah.
But now, so
But
again, I think Michael's concern is valid. Like, why are you doing this as an RFC? And I'm saying, I really feel that without doing this as an RFC, people will continue ignoring a glaring market opportunity in front of them.
Well,
and as I
actually,
said,
I think
you have
that
to
it's not.
convey. Yeah, you have to convey all this. So Mark said proof of possession. So the attester can do something with the key that is expected of the legacy relying party. Sorry, Reds unaware relying party. Also, you have to convey. You have to highlight that you combine a new role that you have to define with the Reds relying party that is the holder of the
Correct.
credentials as key. That
Yeah.
has to be fine, and also conveyance, secure conveyance. When and why should it give it to the attester?
Yes.
Right? How is that happening? This is all specification. This should be specified, right? Or am I wrong, Michael?
I don't know that you need new role names, but I think the right hand box, whatever we're calling it, probably needs a subtitle that we agree on. But I think that Mark, the you, as you said, you have these conveyance protocols that do proof of possession, which is the bottom authentication with credential. And I guess there's potentially many, but fundamentally it's mutual TLS. Potentially, it could also
Yeah.
be it could just be single-ended TLS with OAuth, right? Either way is equivalent, right?
Yeah.
And so that's fine. So what I think you're lacking is the key or credential protocol, which maybe there are multiple choices, and I actually think there are a few, including, by the way, EST. Um, um, but it could be even Acme with rats. Okay, either actually work, but Acme doesn't do private keys, so okay. Whereas EST does. I think you just need to sit down and write the things. And I actually got some of these places. I actually had some coincidentally my fingers quite deep in some code in places, and there's some frustrations and difficulties. But anyway, but theoretically, it's all possible. And it even works, I think, in the scenario where you said I can't change a line of code, but of course I can provision a private key into a appropriate place. So I think that's all doable. I think you just have to sit down. You have to write the spec. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. These are the protocols I'm doing. Come and argue with me if you want yours. We can have a Alice in Wonderland like tea tasting party. I don't know if you're familiar with that trope.
Yeah.
But and we write it down. But the key thing, I hate word. That's why I hate the word. An important thing is that it come with running code, and that because that justifies your example of doing banking in a hostile regulatory environment. Yeah, I didn't think about you guys doing things in Russia. Wow. It's totally reasonable, completely reasonable. I think it's very convincing. There's like 2 paragraphs you write and the use case explain it, and that's fine. And so I think I agree with you that an RFC is useful there because it would specify, while not specifying any bits in the wire itself, it would specify the selection of bits in the wire, do this thing, do that thing, do this version of this protocol. I would go to the point of saying, and thou shalt use EATs in COSI format with EARs in this format and CWMs with this and this and this. Other people think that's too specific, but I want to nail it down as much as possible. That's my view.
Right. So, but like, here's the thing. There is so there is like, if you look at the rat specifications, there is rats that is very, very generic. Then there is EAT that basically says, well, attestation results are going to be in the anti-attestation token, and that's kind of your data model. And then you have RC, that is the information model. That actually the RC doesn't mention EAT at all. Right? It basically says, well, let me just specify what the different claims mean. There's going to be a trustworthiness vector, and implied that, yeah, you can carry it inside EAT, but yeah, you could carry it inside anything else. So
Yes.
this could be the same thing. This could be the framework, much like RATS is a framework that basically just basically says, well, your relying party isn't the ultimate destination for my attester. It is this other thing that abstracts away the necessities of understanding attestation results and having an appraisal policy of attestation results. But the dance doesn't end there, and then we further need this. And then that could be another document, or maybe a subsequent version of this document that basically says, let's actually specify. Because I want to push it through in digestible chunks. My fear of the proposal that you're making, Michael, is that by specifying additional details, I give people additional things to argue about, and that can kill the idea.
Okay, I understand your point of view, and that's the Tea Party, right? Problem. Okay, so that's why I said, look, no, you have to come with running code. In other words, I made some choices. you can argue with me about my choices, but until I accept your patch, my running code's not changing. This is what I'm deploying or something like it. Okay. So if they want to have an opinion, then they can send a patch to the code. In other words, you're raising the bar for arguing. If I like COTS and you want to do JSON, right? That's an argument we can have, but I'm saying I'm raising the bar by saying, okay, so show me the code where you've implemented it and that it's simpler and better. And in many cases, people don't have any code. They don't have the time. They're just,
Yeah.
waving their arms around
It's just
without having nothing.
How much code do I need to write for this is actually quite daunting if you think about it. Because, let me explain. So if you look at something like Microsoft Attestation Service, Microsoft Attestation Service gives you back, attestation results that have nothing to do with what this picture here does. It's for tight integration with a very, very few number of scenarios. Most confidential computing today is you obtain an encryption key, and then your relying party has some encrypted data, and then you basically download that encrypted data inside your T, and you go decrypt it, and that's it.
Yeah, that was explained to me as the
Vast majority of
confidential.
relying parties do not serve encrypted data. They just say, you establish a secure channel with us, and
I get it. You're the stuff on the bottom, which I would love to name better, right? That bottom two boxes, right, with the arc. The stuff on the bottom is your, call it legacy established system there, and we're bolting the stuff on the top such that we can now do horizontally scaled workloads, etc. Blah blah blah. Workloads in strange places, whatever. And so we're separating. I get what you're saying. How much code do you have to write? I don't know, but I'm trying to say is that that's important. And by the way, and this is actually, and I hope I'm not. I hope I'm. This is I need this diagram for a statement of work that I'm trying to write that might let me write half the code you need. I was working on it yesterday. So I didn't quite know what this was about today, but it's kind of fortuitous that way.
Yeah.
But my point is that I think you do need to write some code. Do you need to make it bulletproof, production ready? No. Okay. So yeah, if you decide to write it, I hate Node.js, but if you decide to write it in Node.js, go ahead. It's quick and easy. But I don't think it's production ready. But anyway.
Okay, so we have 9 minutes. Hank, you had a comment, and what I need to know is what do I spend my time on in the next week to move this forward as much as possible?
Get your internet draft on GitHub and add me as a co-author.
Sorry, the draft on GitHub.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's gonna be
or ask me to do it because I could do it quite quickly.
Okay, please do it if you can be doing it fast. So here's again.
Just add me as a MCR. Add me. Invite me to your GitHub.
This is the GitHub. I just put it in the chat.
Yeah, but you'll have to add me as a permission. That's all.
How I don't even know if I
settings,
have
you go to
right.
I can do that. We can do this offline. I think I can do that. I just claimed. But can we also do the title in the last minutes? We have a title in the document.
Well, so far I call it rats unaware relying parties.
Okay, because there was something with impossibility or something.
Oh no, that was the impossibility. That's a proof document. This is a document that basically proves that you cannot have a you cannot take a legacy relying party, call it a rats relying party, and call it a day.
Okay, so this is a companion document that is
a companion document with like a more formal proof that the work in the other draft is actually necessary.
Why do you what was this 2025 archive rats?
Oh, this is a completely unrelated earlier proposal we did to IETF that eventually became this.
Oh, okay. So you moved it to a subdirectory, but you could just have left.
I just didn't want to lose it. I needed some kind
GitHub, of the branch. Name it as a branch, then. Okay, but anyway, all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hank will do something for me. We'll figure it out. Yeah. So, all right.
So tomorrow is a bank holiday in Germany, and I have some time. So
Okay. After this,
but that's a
I'm
good
going
excuse for
to.
you to work on banking tech.
Okay.
see, these are the
You
fun.
don't
So
want me here. I'm leaving.
what
Bye.
what can I do in the next 7 days to move this forward?
I
Add
think it's necessary to see the augmentation of the lower four boxes where we integrate where we enable the integration of the new RETS architecture into existing ecosystems, and we need to map the roles. We have to have the story that everybody knows the red story, C architecture, but now we have to the four lower boxes need more story. They need the bank story. They need the holder story. They need the payroll application story.
So
They need the other things. And so you
amazing,
have a user story.
amazing. But we have the TWI enterprise use case. I can revisit this document,
Yeah,
but this
and
was
then
a
but this
very
took too
old
long.
document now.
Yeah, but maybe Claude can basically get what you want for you, or
But
maybe you do
basically,
it yourself.
the story I explained with a global bank and having multiple locations and organizational boundaries and everything, if you want me to further explain that business case, maybe
you
just
need to
rewrite this document.
you need to condense it into a few paragraphs too, right? Um,
Yeah.
uh, that you are comfortable having public,
Yeah,
and
of course.
that's all, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the more concrete it is, the better. But it needs
And
to,
Okay.
it's an
obviously be
example. An
contract. Give us
example, right?
a real example, and
Yeah.
a multinational bank having to operate in, you know, um, in
Well, we
Russia is a good
basically have,
example. Yeah.
yeah, we basically have many different attesters and relying parties that are completely 100% intransigent for various reasons. And yet we would like to operate, like move some of our workloads into trust execution environments without disrupting anything around them. Like the ripple effect has to be zero. From the relying party perspective, it's okay to stand up a verifier. It's okay to, modify appraisal policies on your relying party, which is now the key store or something else. That's all. That's all fair game. It's the relying party that cannot, the ultimate relying party that cannot change. And I can put that in wording fairly easily. It will take me just an afternoon.
So that is one thing, and it's an example. We need to we have to have I want to say generic role names that fly, and I think credential holder is a good thing for the Reds relying party. Holder, everybody understands what a holder is. Someone else issued that, created that key or issued that certificate. The Reds relying party is now just only holding it and it's giving it to the attester if the attestation result is okay. Cool,
Yeah.
perfecto. That's our integral part. And now the attester can talk to the old ecosystem, and then we give two examples with MTLS and TLS and OAuth. We don't have to really flesh them out, but maybe we need interfaces. We definitely need to understand how to convey the key. Key is EST, and as MCR highlighted, optionally we can certificates, which is then actually it's a little bit big, right? But maybe big. Some enrollment stuff. We will
Well,
figure
you
out
do
the right
enrollment. You
parts.
have to do enrollment
Yeah,
somehow. There's three ways,
yeah,
right? And EST is the easiest, I think, to add attestation to.
I
But
think so too. Yeah. I agree with that. So EST would be, for example, a first proposal. And then you have actually solution parts. You know which entities you have to implement which interfaces on. And if something doesn't really read well, people will tell us, I wouldn't know how to implement this because of who. So we show this to the attestation sake people, like the real implementers of arrays and something, and they will be like, so what am I going to do here, huh? And then we have to augment it a little bit, and then we might have even be pretty readable for the IETF already.
Okay. So you do you have links to all the documents? Should I put them in email? Like, do you have this?
Michael, I would love of like the EST. So Michael said EST. That's easy. Um, TLS is normal. Yeah, I guess I could do a research for you. But these are all straightforward references. So maybe I have the list first. EST, TLS, TLS plus OAuth, sorry, or MTLS. I think these three items are relatively important. The letter to letter word is talking to the legacy probably, and the EST conveys the key to the attester. And then we need some workflow. Who is triggering whom, when, and such, and have to figure out if we need additional protocol tweaks.
Yeah.
The directionality of the initiation of those arrows.
Yeah, we have the swim line diagrams already a little bit. We have to see if they fit. So for example, Michael, you have a fresh pair of eyes. If you could compare what you just today heard with the swimming lane diagrams, and maybe Mark can put a link into the chat.
This is the TWI profile for replica workers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so here's the
okay,
document.
I got it there. Yeah, I got that on the screen.
So if that makes sense to use suddenly, way more than before, that would be great. Because then we can go from diagram to elements to actually swimming line. Jesus Christ. Swimming lane diagrams also. We have a preliminary swimming lane diagram somewhere in Asgard already. I did one. I don't know where it ended up, but I know I did one somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe Mark remembers. I don't. Maybe the minutes remember.
Well, I mean, I think once you leave before we break, anything else I can provide, or maybe shoot me an email if you need anything.
I think Michael and I just have to talk and prep some stuff.
Okay, but again,
And
just beware of the fact that the more specificity we put into it at this stage, the more it could result in misdirection. In that people will be arguing about that and not about the need to do the actual thing somehow. So
I mean, you're right, but you're right that argument can happen, but sometimes it has to happen, and that's just part of socializing the story, right?
Yeah,
and you can't do it. Manu, I know Manu Hush. You guys have like running code for like a bunch of things, and I wondered whether there were pieces that.
Yeah, I mean, if some code needs to be written, you know, it's not beyond it's not beyond possibility. It can be done, but it's, you know, I actually don't care which way they skin this cat. Only that you know, I can do this bit.
Yeah, some POC would be nice, but we have a lot of arrays and stuff at the CCC, and so we don't have to invent all that. I think. Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's just I'm still a little unclear on what would be my contribution in the next week. I do not want to start next week's meeting in exactly the same place where we left today's story. Okay, I'll write the story.
Yeah. Yes, and maybe have good use case role names for the bottom 4 boxes, which will then of course appear in the story. But then you can have this general diagram. We cut out the 4 boxes, give them names that are from the user story, put it into the example, tell that, then go back to the protocol requirements of the edges. And I think that is becoming a very readable document. And we can reshuffle.
Well, I was very explicit to leave this part exactly like the RATS architecture.
Yeah.
Without renaming anything, basically saying like, don't, like, you've seen all of these boxes, right? All we're adding is this. This plus this arrow. This plus that arrow. All right. Well, again, shoot me an email if you need anything at all.
Will do.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you, Michael, for joining us today.
Yeah. Well, good. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.